What's going on, Algebra 2? Today we talked about point slope form and standard form. And you'll have to apologize, I'm a little under the weather, so might be a little groggy here. Point slope form, there's three equations of a line. Three equations for a line. There's point slope form, standard form, and slope intercept. We're not dealing with slope intercept at all. We're just dealing with point slope and standard form. Now point slope, which obviously means you know a point, you know the slope. That's why they call it point slope form. Imagine that. If you're given a point, let's call that x1, y1, and you're given a slope of m, the formula for this is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So notice your point actually goes to these locations. Not in for the x and y, but for x1, y1. Now standard form states ax plus by equals c. And notice that the x and y are both on the left side of the equal sign. This does not have x and y. This number here does not have x and y. It goes on the right side. Because these are going to be numbers, not letters. Except for x and y when you actually do the problem. Okay? Now there's two things to know about standard form. Number one, no fractions. So no fractions for standard form. If you get fractions, then you're not done yet. We still have more to do. And number two, we're going to say, for today, for this case, a can't be negative. So the term in front of x can't be negative, so we're going to switch that to a positive if that's the case. We will handle situations like that. So let's go into a problem. If I say put into point slope form, I can't spell, point slope form of a line. So write an equation in point slope form. If you're given this information, a slope of 1/2, and you're given the point, what did we do in class? 1/4. Okay? So I'm giving you the point and giving you the slope. I'm asking you to write an equation in point slope form. Then all you do is plug in. Very simple. Y minus 4 is equal to our slope, 1/2, times x minus x1, which is our x coordinate, which is 1. There you go. Remember, always figure out what is it asking you to do, because you don't want to do too much work, but at the same time you want to do enough. So in this case, all it's asking us to do is to write an equation in point slope form. That looks like point slope form. Matches up, so you're done. Now, but the next problem we did is let's take this, okay, and we're going to put into standard form. Okay? We're going to put this into standard form. Well, notice the difference with point slope. Let me erase some of this stuff so it's not so distracting here. The difference with some of this, okay, is that the difference between standard form and point slope is standard form doesn't have any parentheses. So if we have parentheses and we want to put it in standard form, get rid of them. So the way we get rid is we distribute. Okay? So we have y minus 4 is equal to 1/2 x. 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. 1/2 times -1 is -1/2. Okay? So we're good so far. Now notice standard form, x and y are on the same side. Both on the left side of the equal sign. So this is in the wrong spot. So we're going to move that over. Minus 1/2 x. So we're left with -1/2 x plus y minus 4 is equal to -1/2. Now there's two rules about standard form. The two rules are that you cannot have fractions and the number in front cannot be negative. Okay? Can't have fractions. Let me just rewrite this really quick. can't have fractions, and this number out in front can be negative. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the fractions and the negative all at once. So we're going to multiply everything by our common denominator. This technically is not really proper notation, but I won't say anything if you won't. So we're going to multiply by negative 2, and then distribute to each term in this problem. So negative 2 times negative 1/2, the 2's and the negative cancel out. You're just left with 1x. Negative 2 times y is negative 2y. Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. And negative 2 times negative 1/2, again, the negative and the 2's cancel out. You're just left with a positive 1. Now, lastly, to finally get this in standard form, we got rid of the negative in front, we got rid of the fractions. We need to move whatever is not connected to x and y to that side of the equal sign. So we subtract 8. You're left with x minus 2y equals negative 7. And this would be in standard form. I know these take quite a few steps, but I think you'll be able to get them. Again, if you're able to do one of these with no problem, you're able to do all of them with no problem. So it's, again, memorizing how to do the problem. Not memorizing answers, but how to do a problem. So let's do another one to get you a little more practice here. Okay, now, I gave you the point and I gave you the slope. So that actually sets it up to be a pretty easy problem if you follow those steps. But the second problem we did in class, I didn't give you the point and the slope. I just gave you 2 points. So therefore I gave you 1, 3 and 5, 7. And the directions are still put it into standard form. So our final answer still needs to look like this. Well, in order to get to standard form, if we have 2 points, we have to go through point slope form. Okay? You have to get to point slope to get to slope to get to standard form. Except for 2 little examples we'll do after this. Well, we have 2 points, but we have no slope. So therefore we have to find slope by setting it up y2 minus y1, so 7 minus 3, over x2, 5, minus x1, 1. Okay? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it gives us 4 over 4, which is just 1. So now this is our slope. We know our slope is 1. So from here, we have our slope. We need to choose a point. Either one, you're going to get the same answer. So let's just choose one. I like using smaller numbers. So we're going to plug that into point slope. Y minus our y value, 3, equals our slope, times x minus our x value, which is 1. Okay? Now from here, again, we're trying to get to standard form, so we got to get rid of the parentheses. So you distribute a 1, which technically just gets rid of the parentheses, because you distribute a 1. Now we need to get the x to the left side. Again, x and y are on the left side of the equal sign. So let's move the x. So you have negative x plus y minus 3 is equal to negative 1. And again, we want to get rid of whatever has x and does not have x and y in it, and get it to the right side. So we're going to add 3. So I'm going to bring it up here. So you have negative x plus y is equal to 2. And again, finally, we have to do one last step. Remember that the number in front of x, the coefficient in front of x, cannot be negative. So if we end up with a negative, we have to multiply everything by a negative. Basically, shortcut rule means just change all the symbols. So that's multiplying everything by a negative. So x minus y equals negative 2 would be standard form. Okay? There you go. That's how to find the equation of a line in standard form that crosses through those points. Okay? So again, you're going to have those 2 type of problems, and then there are the 2 shortcut problems I'm going to show you. It's what happens when you have the same x value. If I give you 1, 3 and 1, negative 5, if you were to graph this, this would actually be a vertical line. If you were to graph this, because this would be over 1, up 3, over 1 down 5. That'd be a vertical line. Whenever you have a vertical line, the equation in standard form, I know it says ax plus by equals c, but in this case, the y is going to change every time. So what we do, we have the same x value. The shortcut is your answer is just x equals 1. X equals that value. So there's actually no work to be done on these. And that goes vice versa. If I give you 4, 6, negative 2, 6, notice that the y values are the same. Instead of having to do point slope and all that stuff, if I know that they're the same, I say y is equal to 6. Because if you were to graph this, this would be a horizontal line, okay, in which there is no x in the equation. Vertical line, there's no y in the equation. So it's just x equals 1. If the x's are the same, y's are the same. Since they're both 6, it's y equals 6. So that's the lesson for today. Keep watching this if you need it. And good luck. Alright, bye.